Coming up tonight, new commercial bank to open in Fiji soon. World Health Organization praises Fiji's health system, and northern flood damages being assessed. Good evening, I'm Sandra Assam. A new bank, Bread Bank, has been granted a license to operate in the country by the Reserve Bank of Fiji. This was announced by the RBF Governor Barry Whiteside last week.
Fiji's newest commercial bank is anticipated to operate in the country by September this year. In making the announcement last week, Reserve Bank of Fiji Governor Barry Whiteside says more work needs to be done in terms of securing premises, hiring staff, and putting in place systems and procedures before the bank fully operates. However, compliance with licensing requirements has been met. Bread Bank is part of the French banking group BCPE, the second largest banking group in France, comprising 36 regional banks. It is the largest banking network within the BCPE group, which falls under its completely owned subsidiary Coffee Bread. The bank had applied for the license to operate in Fiji in June 2011, which was approved by the RBF board in October last year. Whiteside has welcomed the newly bank as it is expected to bring in positive developments for the country. He added entering a market with well-established players will be a huge challenge.
The Prime Minister of Orenge Bainimarama this afternoon spoke to more than 100 senior police officers from around the country, while officially opening their first ever leadership symposium. He reminded them that effective and efficient leadership is the key to any organization.
Effective and efficient leadership is key to any organization, be it civil, the discipline service, or the public sector. There has been much research and discussion stressing the need for organizational change within government, and indeed the Fiji Police Force. Radical organizational restructure has become necessary to equip the civil service and in turn the Fiji Police to provide a modern and relevant service within our evolving social, political and cultural climate. Many researchers have suggested that organizational change is both inevitable and vital if our government and our nation is to survive in our post-modern globalized society.
He further added positive leadership is critical and the Fiji Police Force needed to take a leading role in this regard.
Of transformational leadership is the ability to bring about successful organization change. So leadership is about change. Leadership, as you will hear later on, is about vision. Leadership is a quality which cannot be acquired by any of us from the other, but it can be acquired by self-determination of oneself. Leadership depends on the organic structure of the personality, which includes experience, skill, responsibility, intelligence, power of organizing people, and social interaction. Leadership is an indispensable activity which every leader has to perform to direct the people working under him. It is the ability of the leader to induce subordinates to work with confidence and zeal.
The Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Saipora Matakambara, believes diplomacy breaks down barriers. Therefore, the roles of Fiji's representatives to foreign missions is critical in ensuring we gain maximum benefit both in trade and development cooperation.
Foreign diplomacy in the 21st century demands competency and more efficiency from our representatives overseas, as their line of work now demands more than just managing the affairs of our nationals living abroad. With trade being dominant as a global tool, Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs Saipora Matai-Kambara reminded our diplomats that a lot has changed over the past decade, and it is important Fiji is kept abreast with modern trends of managing our international relations, exploring new markets and finding ways to enhance national development for our country.
No longer can national boundaries define the rules. The traditional players are still in business, but they have been joined by other actors within their states and globally, and all are involved in bilateral and multilateral negotiations. So to contend with these challenges we face in the wider international system, I would like to put to you, as heads of missions, various diplomatic strategies that we would like you to consider as you seek to promote and protect our interests as a nation. These include associative diplomacy, diplomatic building of large country alliance, multi-stakeholder diplomacy, diaspora diplomacy, cyber diplomacy, para-diplomacy, public diplomacy, and sports diplomacy.
Matai Kambara adds that our representatives abroad play a vital role as both foreign investments and remittances contribute to a major part of our GDP.
We need to position ourselves through diplomacy to benefit from alliances with more influential states and organizations on specific issues. The multilateral institutional framework provides us the ability to engage in alliance building between like-minded states to enhance diplomatic influence on issues that are dear to us. In this regard, we encourage you to explore the other multilateral institutions in your spheres of influence that we can align ourselves with no further, in which we can further our interests. Here you need to consider our special and differential treatment within a system of sovereign equality. We must use our diplomacy to continue our struggle to have our special needs accommodated in all the negotiating fora.
The Fiji health system has improved vastly when compared to the past 20 years. This is the sentiment of the WHO Regional Director General, Dr. Shin Young-soo, as he visited the Health Ministry headquarters in Suva this morning. Dr. Soo was briefed on the developments undertaken by the ministry from 2010 until today. And yesterday he also visited the Western Division. This is his second visit to Fiji.
This morning, the Health Ministry welcomed the Regional Director, Dr. Shin Young-soo. He was briefed on the different steps Fiji is taking to address issues like NCD, maternal mortality, and even the reforms undertaken in the various health centers. Dr. Soo was also informed that in Fiji alone, 84% of the population were below the age of 50, and that 82% of the deaths in the country in the 40 to 50-year age group were due to coronary heart disorders. The WHO Regional Director was informed that Fiji faced an uphill battle dealing with NCDs. However, all steps were being taken to ensure that the risk and the occurrence of NCDs were brought down. Meanwhile, he was also informed about the reforms in place, like the decentralization of essential services to the small health centers, the $5 million vaccine project, as well as the community health program. Dr. Soo was pleased with the steps being taken by the Bainimarama government in ensuring that members of the public had access to health services.
When you're looking at not really kind of progress and development reductions, but absolute number of infant mortality and maternal mortality. Infant mortality now is like 15, less than 20 even. Yes, 20. And maternal mortality is 20, around 20. That's already advanced countries' statistics. You know, and this means that Fiji, though your economy and all this development is not that much in advanced countries' status, but your health system for a long time has been exceptionally good, I must say.
Meanwhile, following his analysis of the flood-affected areas, Dr. Soo says he is confident the Health Ministry and government has everything under control.
I've been observing many different stages of flooding or situation in other countries, but of course in Fiji concern, this is one of very, very serious, unprecedented cases of flooding, and a lot of victims, some kind of flooded families, and after some kind of a communicable disease outbreak things. But I think the magnitude is very small, and I think government fully aware of the situation and well controlled. This is inevitable when we don't have this kind of 100% of sanitary systems installed. Then after flood, so it is inevitable having some kind of typhoid or waterborne disease outbreak. But I think its number is very minimal. I think I understand the government taking excellent measure on this part.
Coming up after the break, northern flood damages being assessed. Former Fiji citizen appears in New Zealand court, and Miss South Pacific pleads for conservation.